Soup for the Soul. Comes from the book Chicken Soup for the Soul. There was a guy, his name is Monty Roberts, and he lived in San Ysidro, California, and in Southern California on a horse ranch. And Monty, it's, again, you can read this story, it's in the book Chicken Soup for the Soul by Jack Canfield. Monty Roberts, his father, when Monty Roberts was 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, his father worked in this horse ranch, and he was an itinerant horse farmer. He would go from horse farm to horse farm to horse farm, and he was grooming horses, taking care of horses, training horses, shoeing horses and everything. And so Monty's father went from horse farm to horse farm to horse farm. And Monty, as a result, when he was in high school, ended up never really going to any high school for more than a year at a time. He kept bouncing from school to school to school as his dad went around these different horse farms, you know, trying to find a job and getting money. So one day Monty was in school when he was in high school, and his teacher said, "Hey, look, students, I want you to go home. I want you to I want you to write me a paper when you come back on Monday and give me a story about what you want your life to look like. I want you to give some good description and tell me, what do you want for your life? You know, what kind of a job or career do you think you might have when you grow up?" And so Monty, who was just kind of an average student, wasn't particularly a good student because he was moving from school to school to school, didn't really fit in any one place. He went home and he drew up some elaborate plans about how he wanted to have his own horse farm. How he was going to have this big house on this big parcel of land in San Ysidro, California, with a split rail fence and an American flag on the land, and he was going to have a paddock there and a barn with a bunch of horses and horse stalls. He drew some pretty detailed plans about how big the house was going to be, and the garage, and where he was going to keep his tractors and his horse stables, and the number of people that are going to work in his horse farm. And he not only wrote, you know, this paper for the teacher, but he went ahead and drew up some physical plans, like architectural drawings about what it was all going to look like. He's a high school kid. So on Monday he goes back and he delivers the paper to the teacher, and a couple days later he gets his paper back on Wednesday, and the teacher gives him his paper back, and on the top of the paper it had a big red letter F, and the teacher had a note on there, "See me after class." Well, Monty was shocked. He was like, he put his heart and his soul into this paper and had this, you know, not only did he do the paper and all the words, the proper punctuation and, you know, everything else, he edited it really well, but he had a picture, kind of a vision board for how he wanted and what the house was going to look like, and the land and the number of people and the barn and the horses, and he had it all laid out just exactly how he wanted. He couldn't believe it. So he goes over to the teacher, and the teacher said to him, he said, "Monty, let me tell you something. I know you, and I know your family. I know your family situation. I know what your dad does for a living. Monty, you're not a person of means, Monty. Your education's not that great. Monty, you don't do that well in school, and your dad doesn't even have a high school education. This is a vision for someone that's really excellent, Monty. You are not that. That's not who you are. But I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You go home, you think about it, you get your plans, and you rewrite this paper in a more realistic form. You bring that paper back to me, and I will consider improving your grade." So Monty took the paper, and he had to go and work the whole weekend all over again. What he had just done. He had to redo it. He had to kind of bring down his plans and his ideals and his vision for his life. And he talked to his dad about what the teacher said. And his dad said, "Monty, son, I wish I could help you. I don't even have a high school education myself. I don't know what to tell you. You're just going to have to think about it. You might have to pray about it, but you're going to have to make the decision on your own." So Monty did. He took the time and he thought about it. And he spent some time over the paper. Monday morning came. He went into the teacher's, that period of class, he went into the classroom. He took the paper and he went over to the teacher and he put the paper on the teacher's desk. And he put the paper on the teacher's desk with no edits. He didn't change a thing. And he said to the teacher, "Teacher, you can keep the F. I'll keep my dream. I'll I'll keep my dream. Monty Roberts is the famous horse whisperer. You may have heard of him, heard of the movie. He ended up seeing Queen Elizabeth and trained her horses. He ended up having that horse farm. And that teacher that almost stole his dream has apologized profusely for what he had, kind of crushed Monty's dream, and brought his students over to learn leadership skills and equine skills at Monty's horse ranch. Monty's now in his late 70s, early 80s, I believe. But what a fascinating story about you don't let anybody steal